Welcome to InfoSource, a presentation of Berkshire Healthcare Systems, a not-for-profit organization committed to fulfilling the health and residential needs of those in the communities we serve. I'm your host, Jenny Sutherland, and I am very happy to welcome my two guests today, Holly Merchant from Hospice Care in the Berkshires, and you brought along your friend Joe Harrington. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
This is an important show to me, and we want to talk about one of the service lines that HCIB, Hospice Care in the Berkshires offers. And Joe, you take advantage of that service. You're part of a support group there.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm part of a support group for child loss called Loss of a Child.
Okay.
I've been attending that for just a little, well, I think just 2 years now.
Okay. All right. And do you guys meet weekly, monthly?
We meet once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for you, going to it for 2 years, I'm sure it's changed and evolved and things. And what does it mean to have that support in your life now and maybe reflect back a little bit?
Well, it means everything.
Okay.
My wife and I lost our 27-year-old son just, I think, 22, 23 months ago now. He was a student at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy, and he had about 3 weeks to go till he graduated from the physician assistant program, and just died suddenly and unexpectedly.
Okay.
And, you know, it sends you reeling.
Oh, sure.
And to be able to go to that group and just be around people who were in similar situations made all the difference in the world.
Sure. I just, again, I thanked you for coming on the show. But Joe, this means a lot to me, and hopefully someone out there is going to hear what you're talking about and maybe go find some help for themselves, because you were very clear to me that this has helped you and your family get through this. Did you find going to the meeting, did someone suggest it to you? How did you connect with this program that HCIB offers?
There was a grief counselor
Okay.
that told us about the group.
Okay.
And as far as I know, and I think I'm right, we attended the very first meeting that group had.
Okay.
You know, it hadn't existed. It was
Sure.
a new group. And so that's how we found out about it, was through a grief counselor.
And that is something, and I think you can find out about it from different ways. There's some flyers.
Yes.
I think word of mouth.
Yes.
You're very active in promoting this in the community and talking to folks. When you guys meet for your groups, do you have set topics? Is it just sharing where you're at?
It's the group is very casual.
Okay.
It's not real formal. I mean, there is a loose structure to it.
Sure.
It really depends on what the needs of the people in the group are on any given night. I think that answers your question.
It does. I think sometimes when people don't know what to expect, they need to have a little bit of a picture.
Yes.
Clearly, it's hard to get any kind of help, and around something of a loss of a child, I don't have to say it to you, takes an extra bravery to do it. So to know that it's a loose structure, not so formal, takes some of that, well, am I walking into a classroom setting? I'm sure people are very open and welcoming.
I found them to be very welcoming.
Sure.
The people in the group that have been attending regular are just awesome people.
Sure.
I've grown to love each of them. I continue going to the group, not that I feel like, you know, oh, I'm all better now.
Oh, no.
But I continue going to the group in large part just because I really love the people there.
Yeah. And I want to say that that group and continuing to get support feels good to you, but you're also giving other people that are at different stages the support they need.
Absolutely.
So to me, and you hear this comment in a lot of situations, you're taking a tragedy and doing the best you can with it. And no one ever gets over anything like this or any other losses. You just learn to deal with it in different ways.
You learn to carry it with you and live with it and and hopefully sometimes some happiness and joy exists alongside the sadness.
Sure.
But it doesn't go away.
No. But to show other people how to get through this with as much support and compassion is remarkable. So, and your wife goes along with you too?
Yes, she does.
Very good.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
a good thing too. For the show, we were talking, and Holly, sometimes because of your role at HCIB, which is what?
I am the bereavement coordinator. That's
Okay.
my job title.
All right.
And bereavement is one of the services we offer to the community, as well as to our patients and their families. Bereavement means support around grief, provided through groups, individual counseling, and workshops and activities that we offer to the community, as well as our the people who've used our services for a dying loved one. So, and this is where this group developed out of somebody, a need for this kind of support was identified, and we have the staff to provide it.
Before the show, we were talking about the gentleman who facilitates this group, and I think we should do a little shout out to this guy, because he's been very instrumental in with you. So who's the gentleman who facilitates this group?
His name is Bob Rennie.
Bob Rennie.
He has been a pastor in some local congregations. He's retired from that role now, but he works for us, and he facilitates a couple of our groups. He does this group and the spouse partner loss group, and also reaches out to our grieving patient families, and to provide some individual counseling to people who call in from the community. That's something I do myself as well.
And Joe, you said this guy is pretty dynamite.
Yeah, Bob is a great, awesome gentleman.
Yes.
Sure.
When we first lost our son, he was doing a group in Great Barrington where I think it was general bereavement. My wife, and he may still do that. I don't know if that continues on or not. But my wife and I went to that group, and
Okay.
it turned out we were the only two in the group for several weeks. And he made all the difference in the world. I mean, there's no magic wand or anything like that, but he was a large part of our surviving, and still continues to be.
Yes.
And I think especially you need someone like that then, but those are the folks that are committed and passionate about what they do, is helping other people.
Yes.
And Berkshire Healthcare Systems, we have a lot of different, we have hospice care, we have people that do this work care. I mean, our thing is to help you continue on in your family. So I'm glad to hear Bob is part of that. I'm very proud to work alongside him. Maybe I can have Bob come on sometime, because now I'm wanting to meet that gentleman as well.
Yes.
Couple of things, Joe, I want to touch upon before I say thank you again for coming on. Right before the show, you mentioned that when you lose a child, it's you and your spouse, but also there's children, you could have a sibling.
Yes.
And so I thought it was important when you said to me that when I'm saying I'm sorry for your loss, not only to your wife, but to you as the father, that I'm remembering to include your other children if you have them. So I think that is a good tip. I rarely give out tips, but when there's a loss, it affects the whole family, and to include everybody. So the other thing, so are you all right that I mentioned that? I thought it was important.
Yes, of course.
So I want to say to your daughter, I'm sorry for her loss as well. You have friends out in the community that have lost, and for whatever reason can't make it to a group or don't want to. And that's not a judgment thing. But in your experience, it's helped you get through. Yes.
Yeah, it's helped, absolutely. And I do have friends who have lost children before we lost our son, and some after.
Yeah.
They don't attend a group. They don't want to, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I encourage them. It's helped me so much. I encourage them.
Sure.
You can't make them, and it may not be for everybody, and that's okay.
Right.
And I think that's what makes us all unique. Hopefully they did something, maybe went to see a different, a one-to-one counselor, maybe found support in friends and family or a faith community. But I think the most important thing is to get support for yourself.
Yes.
You don't want to turn a tragedy into more of a tragedy.
Yes. And that would not be a very difficult thing to do.
No, I think that would be an easier thing to do than keep going sometimes.
It would be, in some ways, maybe harder, but it would be very easy to give up. It'd be very easy to self-medicate. It would be extremely easy to do that. And that's one reason I think it's good to be around other people who've been through the same thing.
Yeah. It's an example. It's pulling other people along with you. I think Bob did that for you.
Yes.
And as your group build, you do it. There's an energy of surviving something that's understandable. And I think in some ways a comfort that you're talking to a group of people. You have a spouse group, you have a child group. Those are losses, but different losses.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think having that camaraderie to help.
I can tell you the very first meeting that my wife and I went to, it was a very small room we were in because there wasn't that many people there then. I walked into that room, the meeting hadn't started, didn't even say anything to anybody. I just looked at about 6 other people who were there, knowing they were parents who have lost kids. And there was such an unspoken connection. And there was, at least for me anyways, there was like this sense of peace, almost like a sense of relief that there's other people going through this, there's other people that, because you can sympathize and you can empathize to a degree, but in any kind of loss.
Sure, no, that's true.
If you haven't suffered that particular loss, you don't get it like somebody who has.
No.
And that was an amazing moment for me. And since then the group has grown. Now we meet in a bigger room. And you were mentioning before about what would somebody expect. We meet in a room with a big conference table, but it's very casual.
Yeah.
Right.
You at any given meeting, if there's a new person there who's newly bereaved, it could be a heavier meeting, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Other meetings you'll find laughter and jokes and tears.
That's what I found when I was able to. I substituted for Bob at one point, and just to sit there and watch the resilience and the hope that I could see in this room, coping with what is one of the most devastating losses anyone can imagine, that seeing the strength that the group members give each other, it's like we're there to provide some information and education, but really a setting where people going through this type of loss can help each other, educate each other, support each other. That and it's really a beautiful thing to watch. That's
I'm thinking about so many things, and I just, man, it was such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Talking with you, and thank you for first taking care of yourself and your family to move along with this and coming on and sharing it. Holly's going to stay on with me. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to watch a little bit more about hospice care in the Berkshires, and then we'll be back to talk about some more services that are offered. All right, back in a minute.
Nestled in the center of the picturesque Berkshires of western Massachusetts, hospice care in the Berkshires has served the county for more than 30 years. Hospice Care in the Berkshires is a proud affiliate of Berkshire Healthcare, the state's largest nonprofit provider of nursing, rehabilitation, and senior housing in Massachusetts. Berkshire Healthcare is committed to fulfilling the health and residential needs of the people in the communities we serve. Hospice Care in the Berkshires offers comfort, compassion, and the emotional and spiritual support families and patients value when faced with life-limiting illness.
When my mother-in-law was diagnosed with terminal cancer, we had hospice come directly to our home. It's where she resided and wanted to have her care done. It was a tough time for the family because it was a shock to find out the limited amount of time that she had. But when we started working with hospice, they came in and worked with us wonderfully. They helped us navigate through all the administrative tasks. They told us about all the services that were available to both the patient and the family, the social workers, the home aides, the nurses, and really helped us get through this tough time.
Our caring, dedicated, and experienced team of professionals supports patients and families where they live, whether it's at home, a nursing home, or assisted and independent living facilities. This team includes hospice-trained physicians, hospice nurses, family counselors, spiritual counselors, and hospice aides.
Oftentimes people ask us, why do you work for hospice? Why would you do this? Why do you work with dying patients? And I think most of the people on our team would say that it's an honor to work with people at end of life. It's an honor to try to support families and patients through end of life, to make sure that they are cared for with dignity, that they die peacefully, that their families are supported through that process. It's our goal to make it even a little bit better if we can. We can't change the outcome, but to be there and to support families through the process and patients through the process in every aspect is really important.
And we do try to support both the physician and the patient and family at this time in their lives in whatever location that patient and family want to be.
And I just knew that when I retired, I wanted to be part of helping people that were dying and didn't have someone to be there to support them. I knew that that's something I wanted to do.
Our incredible team of hospice-trained volunteers are instrumental to the support we offer families. Our team of over 100 volunteers helps with transportation to appointments, running errands, and respite for the caregivers.
When you know that you can make a difference and that person is secure and feels not as scared because they have someone to sit there to hold their hand, I just can't tell you how you just feel like you're floating on a cloud when you leave. And to be there when they actually die and to know that you've made it easier for them, you just can't explain that.
Hospice Care in the Berkshires is grateful to the many people who make donations. All the funds raised support the agency's community programs and services, an integral part of how we serve Berkshire County.
Bereavement services at Hospice Care in the Berkshires are funded through philanthropic dollars from the community, and that would include donations, memorial donations, and also community events that we have, such as our gala, our Remembrance Walk that we have every September, and that allows us to provide bereavement services to all members of the community, not just folks who were hospice patients' families.
I would definitely recommend hospice care in the Berkshires to other families. Again, the range of services was wonderful. In fact, I love the organization so much that I now volunteer and help other families who are going through it.
Choosing hospice isn't about giving up on life. It's about choosing the support needed in order to live a full life right now. For more information about how hospice care in the Berkshires can help, call us at 413-443-2994.
Welcome back to InfoSource. With me from Hospice Care in the Berkshires is Holly Merchant. And Holly, we just had, it was a pleasure talking with Joe.
Yes, yes.
And Joe shared with us his experience participating in one of the services that HCIB offers, and he was very brave to come on. I think he's one of the most remarkable people I've met in a long time, so
Yes.
I think that's great. And you get to see this group a little bit.
Yes,
so
I do.
Your
Yes.
thoughts on the group?
The group is such an outstanding bunch of people. They range in age and child loss from infant to adult child. These people have lost children through tragedy, unexpected. Some others have congenital birth defects. Some chronic disease or something else. It really runs the gamut. But the way they can just open themselves to other people and learn from each other is an amazing thing to see. And this is a truly a safe space for them, because as Joe pointed out, we cannot know the nature of a particular loss until we walk through it. You know, we as grief counselors and pastors and social workers and pastors make up the majority of the staff in my department who provide support. And we have a high degree of education and experience in loss, but the people who really teach us the most are the people who've walked through those particular losses. And every day I'm amazed by their bravery, their resilience, their courage to face this and to share what they've learned with other people.
Sure.
And
that's a gift to everybody, and for Joe and folks that are participating too. What I found was interesting is so this is hospice care in the Berkshires offering this.
Right.
Joe's son was not on hospice services. What I think people can forget and not understand is this is one of the services you offer. So let's talk about that. This person was not on hospice, yet Joe and his wife are benefiting from one of your things you offer. So talk about that, please.
That's one of the things that Berkshire Healthcare, supports and allows us to do is provide grief services, bereavement services to the wider community.
So anybody.
And yes. And as we've, learned, there are new needs that crop up. 2 years ago, this group was formed because there was a need for support around people who'd lost children. And we have spouse loss, partner loss support groups. We're seeing an increased need for children who've lost people in their lives. Getting referrals from that. I've spoken with several children in the last 6 months.
So adult children or teenage children.
Yeah,
okay, so
wow.
Okay, so
because we are experiencing an increase in the loss of younger people in the community. And so we're trying to look out into the community, work with other providers, and provide support. For people who have these needs, because while we do offer support for family members of people who've been on hospice, which is a large part of what we do, and we do that through support groups, through workshops, which are some, like in the spring, we're going to be offering a shadow box workshop, where somebody can build a shadow box, memorializing somebody they've lost, but also honoring somebody who's living. We decided to open that up to people who might want to do that as well. We're hoping to get a writing workshop started where people write in journals to express their feelings around their loss. And in June, we'll be offering a butterfly release memorial ceremony on the lake's front of Lake Anoda. So we're always looking for different ways
to support the needs. So we have specific support groups, which is wonderful. We have little workshops. And I have been privileged to see the butterfly release and part of that, which is just, it's beautiful, but it's also very meaningful to set something free and have it go away from you, but still have that. So it's it's very helpful, I think. When someone's on hospice services through hospice care in the Berkshires, you guys come in during or after, start working with these people?
My department typically comes in after.
So when the bereavement process starts up.
Right, but I am always keeping track of what is going on before.
So you know when to...
Yes, and the social workers and the spiritual counselors will make me aware of a situation that might be particularly difficult. So,
and I'm asking that just because, I know the social workers are in there, and I like that as... the services to this family changes, your support changes. So it goes from this And there's still support over
Yes.
on this side,
Yes.
which is just as important.
Right.
And one of the many things I just admire about hospice care in the Berkshires is you're there for a long time. You can be there for a while at the
Right.
start, and at the end you still continue on.
Right.
And a good colleague of yours and kind of, I said, a mentor to me, June Green, says
Yes.
sometimes the person who is on your services for their own end of life
Right.
finds comfort that their family is going to get support after they're gone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So she has stressed that very much, that the role of your services that you're part of is very important to the person who is not
Right.
going to be there anymore.
Right. For example, like if a family has been on hospice, we will send them mailings
Yep.
following the death throughout the next year.
Sure.
Particular points have been identified as being difficult. A certain amount of time, an anniversary, a season, and we try to make those mailings go along with that time period in the person's life. Just kind of a reach out saying, we know this is probably on your mind. This is what you're going through. These feelings are normal.
Sure.
We're here for you if you'd like some extra support. We do short-term individual counseling. People can come in and talk to us, and often for many, a couple of visits is maybe all they need to just refocus and reframe and basically realize that they are coping. They're going to get through this, and their feelings are not unusual. And that's we do a lot of what we call normalizing the experience. Just reassuring. Yes, this is a place where you can cry, and your crying is normal.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's
Part of
it's
the
okay.
process, sure.
And what you're feeling about this distance, this amount of time that's passed is normal. There are certain benchmarks that we recognize that are challenging for people.
So I think what we want people to take away is that this is an experience, all loss and bereavement.
Yes.
But you can get support in various ways.
Yes, absolutely.
And certainly hospice care in the Berkshires
Yes.
is there to provide it. Contact information if
Yes.
people want more info about you guys.
Okay. We do have a Facebook page.
Oh, right.
Yes. You can find us on Facebook, and we also have a website.
Okay.
hcib.org, and our telephone number at our
Here it
office.
comes.
Here it comes. Is 413-443-2994. And my name is Holly Merchant, and I'd be glad to speak with any of you at any time.
Wow. I want to say it was an honor to have you on, and thank you
very
for
much.
your work.
No.
I can clearly hear how dedicated you are to doing this with folks, and even though it's hard for you sometimes because you shared that, thank you for doing it. I also want to go back to Joe Harrington.
Oh, yes.
Probably one of the bravest guys, and I thank him again so much for coming on. So Joe, thanks for coming on and sharing your story.
Absolutely.
I want to remind folks out there that InfoSource is a presentation of Berkshire Healthcare Systems. Until next time, I wish you good health, good life. Bye for now.